All right, ready for a deep dive into a book that claims it has all the answers.
Ooh, I like a bold claim. Lay it on me.
This one's from Wayne Dyer. There's a spiritual solution to every problem. Our listener today is all about personal growth and wants to see how these spiritual ideas actually work, in their daily life.
Practical application, that's the golden ticket, isn't it? Dyer doesn't shy away from those big statements, that's for sure. But it's great that our listener is coming in, like, ready to explore, open mind and all that.
Totally. And that's what struck me too. Dyer's main argument, it really jumped out at me. He says those things we see as like these huge, stuck problems, they're often illusions.
Kind of like mirages in the desert. You think they're real, but
Exactly. Just our perception tricking us.
it's like, well, think about when you look at something solid, right?
Yeah.
Your senses tell you it's unmoving. But if you could zoom in, like microscopically, it's all just energy whizzing around.
So Dyer's saying we should apply that same thinking to our problems.
Yeah, they might feel set in stone, but really they're this fluid energy, and we've got the power to, shift that.
That's a pretty radical concept when you think about it.
It is, it is.
And it reminds me of Dyer's own experience with his heart attack. Talk about a challenging situation, right?
Absolutely.
But he didn't panic. Instead, he used that whole experience to actually, test out the principles he was writing about.
See, and that's what I find so powerful about his story. He wasn't denying the medical reality of it all, But he also recognized how powerful your mindset can be in that healing process.
He was like, okay, this is happening, but how can I use what I know about spirituality to get through this?
Yeah, not as a victim, but an observer, using the tools he had.
And he even used his own book as a guide, which, wow, talk about commitment.
Absolutely. And it shows how practical this stuff can be. Dyer identifies 7 key components: surrender, meditation, action, gratitude, forgiveness, inspiration, and cheerfulness. And he's not saying they're just these lofty ideals. He's saying we can use them to really create change.
So it's not enough to just think happy thoughts. We need to actually use these components.
Right.
So when he talks about surrender, he's not saying to just give up, is he? He's talking about something much deeper.
Exactly. It's about, think of it like releasing control, letting go of that ego and trusting in something, well, bigger than us,
Creating space for something else to guide the way.
Yes.
And this is where I think things get really, really interesting. He connects these components to this idea of, get this, vibrational frequencies.
Right.
I'll admit, this is a concept I'm still wrapping my head around.
Yeah, I get it. It can seem a little out there at first. But think about music. You've got different notes, right? And they vibrate at different frequencies, which is how we hear all the different sounds.
Okay.
So Dyer's saying our emotions and thoughts, they work kind of similarly. They've each got their own vibration.
So each feeling has its own energetic frequency?
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's wild. Does that mean some emotions can actually attract problems to us?
That's exactly what Dyer suggests. He thinks those lower vibes, things like fear, anger, doubt, they don't just feel bad, they actually contribute to the problems we experience.
You mean they're on the same wavelength? Attracting more of the same?
You got it, right.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, higher vibrations, love, joy, peace, those attract solutions.
Whoa, okay. So it's not about pretending we don't feel the bad stuff, right?
Well,
Because that's not...
Exactly. It's not about denying those lower vibes. It's more about, how do I put it? It's like learning to manage our energy, just shifting our focus to raise that overall vibration.
So instead of letting a bad mood just, I don't know, totally wreck my day, I can use these tools Dyer's talking about to shift things.
Precisely. And he gives us some really practical techniques to do just that.
Okay, like what?
One of the most powerful ones he talks about is identifying beyond our physical form and our ego.
What does that even mean?
It means recognizing that we are not just this body, this job, these things we own. We're something much, much bigger.
It's like that saying, right? We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience.
There you go. We're connected to this this universal consciousness, this source of infinite possibility.
And when we tap into that...
Yeah. When we remember that, even the big problems can start to feel smaller. It's like zooming out on a map, seeing the bigger picture.
Ooh, I like that. So how does this whole love over hate thing tie in? Dyer talks about that a lot, and it feels really especially relevant these days. You know what I mean? It's so easy to get sucked into the negativity.
It's crucial. Remember those vibrational frequencies? Love is way, way higher than hate. When we choose to approach things with love, even when it's hard, we're literally raising our vibration. It's powerful.
So it's not just about being nice. It's about
It's about shifting our energy. And Dyer would say choosing love over hate doesn't mean you're being passive or letting people walk all over you. It's about responding with that higher awareness, interrupting those like automatic cycles of negativity.
It's like that Gandhi quote, be the change.
Exactly.
So to do that, you need a lot of self-awareness, right? Be able to catch yourself when you're slipping into those like lower vibes.
Oh, for sure. And that's where practices like meditation come in, which, we can get into a bit later. But first, I want to touch on something else Dyer really emphasizes. Recognizing that the universe, it's not holding out on us. Abundance is always there.
Okay, now this is where I always get tripped up. If there's all this abundance, why do we see so much lack in the world? Why do bad things happen? It doesn't seem fair.
That's a big one, right? Dyer would say the abundance is always there, but we block it with our beliefs, with those thought patterns that keep us stuck.
So we're creating our own lack.
It's a tough one to accept, right? But it's also incredibly empowering. Because if we're creating it...
We can change it.
Exactly. Dyer uses this analogy. It's like, imagine having $1 million in the bank.
Okay.
But you forgot the password to access it.
Oh, I see.
So the money's there, but we've created the obstacle.
So how do we unlock that abundance, that password you were talking about?
Well, Dyer would say it starts with shifting our perspective. And one of the simplest but most powerful ways to do that is gratitude.
It's funny, right?
Yeah.
Something so simple, but it's like you're training your brain to focus on what you have, the good stuff, instead of always looking at what's missing.
Exactly. And when we focus on gratitude, that's high vibe, right? Which attracts more abundance. It's like tuning your radio to a station, playing, your favorite uplifting music.
Okay, I think I'm getting this whole vibration thing a little more now. So we've got surrender, choosing love, that abundance mindset. What else does Dyer say we can do to raise our vibration and make those positive changes?
He talks about the importance of really seeing the beauty in everyday moments.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah, it's about training ourselves to notice the little things, those small wonders that honestly we often just miss when we're, caught up in the daily grind.
Totally. It's like actually taking the time to watch a sunset or really tasting your food. Brings you right to the present moment.
And speaking of presence, Dyer's a big proponent of meditation. And it's not just about, sitting cross-legged on a cushion. It's about going deeper, connecting with yourself, that universal consciousness we were talking about.
So it's more about quieting all that mental noise.
Yeah.
Finding that stillness within.
Yes. And from that stillness, we can hear our intuition, that inner guidance. Dyer would say that voice is always there, but...
It gets drowned out.
Exactly. By all our thoughts and worries.
So meditation helps us tune back in.
Right.
And I'd imagine it also helps manage those lower vibration emotions, fear, doubt, all that.
Oh, absolutely. Dyer talks about fear as this huge obstacle to, really living a fulfilling life.
And what's the antidote to that fear?
Faith, but not blind faith. It's more like this deep knowing that we're supported, guided, loved unconditionally.
It all comes back to surrender, doesn't it?
It does. Letting go of that need to control everything, trusting that we are where we're meant to be.
Which reminds me of that St. Francis prayer.
Oh, beautiful, right?
Dyer really connects with that.
He does. He uses it as this framework for solving problems spiritually, shifting that energy, aligning with the higher vibrations.
Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is despair, hope. It's like a roadmap.
It is. For creating a more loving, peaceful world. And not just out there, but within ourselves, too,
It's about breaking those cycles of negativity and choosing a different path.
Yes. One that leads to peace, joy, fulfillment, all of it.
This deep dive has given me a lot to think about, I'll tell you.
Me too.
It's like Dyer saying we hold the power to create the life we want.
We do.
But it starts internally. Shifting our perspective, getting aligned with the best version of ourselves.
Exactly. And you don't have to do it all at once. Just start small. One practice, one new thought, one tiny shift.
I love that. So, to our listener, if you only take away one thing, you have the power to transform your life. But it starts from within. So ask yourself, what's one little thing you could do today to raise your vibration, to experience more love, more joy, more abundance? It's all possible.
It is. And as Dyer would say, there's a spiritual solution to every problem. Just trust that journey. Keep exploring and see how your life reflects all that love and abundance that honestly is your birthright.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive, everyone.